celebration now. The duel is done. Yo, Will, don't you understand? It's not the man in the fight, it's the fight in the man. Yeah. Now I'm the master of the duel. It's been my pleasure to meet you. Let's go! Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Into the world we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Into the world we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the world of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Hello and welcome back to the finals of the European Championship here in Berlin for 2018. I'm joined with Matt Bell.
One more round, Luke. This is the decider to find out who's the European champion.
It absolutely is. Everyone who is going to Japan has been decided at this point.
Absolutely, we know. Actually, I think there's one seat still in contestant, and that would be the French slot for points,
Yep.
which will depend on the players' performance this weekend.
Yep. But this match is for this
All the
coveted
marbles,
trophy.
Luke.
Yeah,
This
this
is all
big
the
marble.
marbles.
There's a huge marble.
That is a very big marble.
It
And
is.
we're going to have one winner at the end of this weekend.
Yep.
This
and
is the first time the United Kingdom have ever appeared in the finals of a WCQ, I believe.
You may be right. You may be right, actually.
I tried to get back too far, and I was like, go write my name on that. I'm like, go ahead. We'll be wrong later. It's fine.
Nice. Well, let's have a quick breakdown of what our stats say about this matchup. So, Luke Parks.
You've heard a lot about him.
Yeah, he's on an 80% win rate.
Higher after this weekend.
Only getting higher after this weekend, correct. We have Francesco Simoncelli here, who is on a 61% win rate. But that doesn't take away from the fact he's currently sat in the finals and he's going to Tokyo.
Yeah, he's absolutely made it all the way here through the field. He's coming up against a deck that he's unfavoured against by about 10%.
About 10%, yeah.
He's at a 10% disadvantage before you count in player skill, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know the stats, they don't make it because we've seen.
It could just be your weekend. We've seen, for
absolutely.
example, Marcello drawing an unplayable hand. We've absolutely seen major upsets this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So this trophy in front of us is going to be handed over to one of these guys. Let's find out who it is. Is it going to be Luke Parks or Francesco Simoncelli? Oliver Gurman and Tom Rose will guide us through the action. Take it away, guys.
Yes, guys, welcome. If you just tuned in, this is going to be it. This is the finals of the European Championship 2018. As these other two guys over there on the analyst desk just said, we got Luke Parks and Francesco Simoncelli.
16 rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Have led up to this
rounds.
moment. This is round number 17. Over 1,600 duelists, and now just 2 remain. One will be crowned the European champion for 2018. Both will be going to the World Championships,
Yes.
but at this point, it's all to play for on the bragging rights. Who will be able to claim that title of European champion?
If you've come this far, you're not going to give up now. You're not going to be like, okay, I'm going to Worlds, but now I don't care about this last match. You're either going to worry about your win record, which shouldn't fall below 80% if you Luke Parks, or Francesco is going to be like, I want to be going back to Italy with a trophy in hand, because that's also quite nice. So let's take a quick look at the way to the finals for these two guys. Let's bring that up for you. You can see our top bracket of the European Championship, and it was stacked with high-profile names. Luke Parks was one of the guys we expected to do really well here. But he also, look at that bracket, he had to overcome Marcello Barberi in the quarterfinals, and then in the semifinals he had to go up against Nicolas Meyer from Germany, who just kicked out Jake Quincy the round before.
Yeah, we've had loads and loads of big names, and even the top 16 doesn't show everyone that we had in the top cut this weekend. There were so many huge players.
There were more national champions, former national champions, even former European champions.
And former Worlds competitors.
Yes. And also what's interesting, if you look at the flags, Italy was initially sending the most players into the top 64, suddenly taking a backseat to the Germans in the top 32, and then they were fighting back. The remaining Italians were like, this is for honor, this is for glory. And 2 of them ended up in the right bracket of the top 16 here, with Francesco Simoncelli, who's now in the finals, as well as Mr. Garanzini. I think that was Alberto, without being 100% sure about it. Alessandro, I'm sorry. Alessandro made it also to the semi-finals. All right, with that, the stage has been set. We are ready. You guys are definitely ready. Crowd, are you ready? Can we hear something from the crowd?
Come on, give us some more.
There we go. The crowd is ready. The stage is set. And with that, let's take you guys to the table, and we're going to be ready to... Okay, we just heard we have some technical difficulties after all of that hyping. So with that, I'm going to give the head judge a sign that he can start the announcement, because he also needs to announce that we're going to start the finals. We're going to reboot our statistics app as well as our other app. And I think with that, we should be ready for the finals. Let's cross your fingers, guys, and see if this is working out.
Good luck to both players, but most luck to Luke.
Right. Again, we lost the being well, what's
impartial.
The word? Impartial is the word I'm looking for. Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's okay. In the finals of the European Championship, you can be rooting for the player from the same country you're from. That's all right. All right, guys. Let's head over to the table. Both these guys are okay. We still have the technical difficulties in the most inopportune moment here. Just gonna try to reboot this one more time. And worst case scenario is we're gonna have to call it blindly. We're not gonna do that, don't worry, guys. So
I think we see the match. The players have started. Luke has won the die roll and begins with a normal summon of Gouki Riscorpio, and he has instant fusion to follow that up with. So he has instant access. Straight for that is sold, but we don't have access to the cards in hand, so I can't tell you whether Francesco has any hand traps to combat this opening combo here. If he doesn't, Luke will surely be able to follow through with this full combo. We saw just a peek there in hand for Francesco. There was a Torrential Tribute, one of the very interesting tech cards. We haven't seen much of that this weekend, but he's playing 3 copies of Torrential Tribute in the main deck, which could be absolutely pivotal. If Luke doesn't have access to information on the deck list going into this match, he might walk into that in this game or the next. It's all to play for here. I just hope Luke can keep his nerve. And
yeah, I'm just going to double check if these guys have met before. We actually heard the crowd give a little bit of an applause, and that is because they didn't see a hand trap here.
Yeah, there's no Droll Lockbird, there's no Ash Blossom. Luke even has the Soul Charge in his hand waiting for later. He has everything that he needs for this combo to resolve.
So these two guys have not met so far, although chances are they know what each other is playing, because they played against a couple of their friends, or they were sitting next to each other, very close to the top.
Yeah, they will absolutely know each other's deck types, but small tech cards, there's a chance that those might have slipped under the radar this far.
Yeah, and we're going 3 for 3 with Luke Parks here. He's really on a win streak in that feature match area. He must be feeling comfortable with that. And he might be well on his way to yet another victory, at least in the first game of the finals.
Yeah, Luke's just going through the motions here. We've seen this combo. We've talked so many times this weekend about when players have to make up a slightly different combo as they're going along if there's interruptions, but there's no interruption here. Luke is just free to play. He's done this combo 20 times probably, even just today.
Yeah, he was playing mirror matches all day. Actually, we looked it up earlier and found out that on day 2, up all the way until the semi-finals, Luke Parks was only playing against Gouki, and now he's finally need to adapt strategies again and go up against Sky Striker Trickstar.
Yeah, at this point, all he knows is Gouki every single match. But clearly, he must be the best Gouki player in the room, because he's the one that's still left in the tournament at this point, and he's fighting to take home that championship title.
Yeah, he wants to take it home with him. All the coming home jokes that we made yesterday, or at least I made yesterday, they haven't really aged very well in this tournament, to be honest. England really is on a roll this weekend. And we've seen that. Like, even Matt and Luke have been in a very bright mood all weekend, and sometimes they're a bit more somber, to be honest.
Yeah, we see Luke here continuing with those plays. He's had to make a slightly non-standard board. Having opened with the Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, he doesn't go straight for the Mermaid to summon it from the deck, instead opting simply to normal summon it and get back the Underclock Taker. Oftentimes we don't see the Underclock Taker summoned immediately. for the firewall material, but he needs to go through that stage to have something to summon back on the normal summon of the Ibli. So I was mistaken when I said he was just going to breeze through with a standard combo. We have a slight difference here, and let's hope he knows exactly what he's doing. I know he's spent a lot of time practicing for every eventuality with these Gouki combos, so he should know his route through this line, but the concentration on his face is not going away. He's really having to think hard, make sure that he doesn't slip up at this last moment.
Right. It looks like we're one step closer to bringing you the usual coverage with cards in hand and cards on the table. Cards in hand from Francesco Simoncelli, Trickstar Candina, Port of Desire, Scapegoat, Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage, and Torrential Tribute. As we pointed out, no disruption, however, that Torrential Tribute at least. But I think after the Gouki deck has been assembled, Torrential Tribute is no longer that strong.
Yes, so long as Luke Parks is able to fully resolve his combo and sit with a triply co-linked Tri-Gate Wizard, the Torrential Tribute won't be much of a threat.
Alright, so Luke Parks really put himself in a perfect position in the driver's seat, and he's driving a Ferrari all the way back to England from Berlin, Germany, at the largest ever European Championship. So far, so good, going through the motions, handing his opponent that Ibli.
And here we'll see him shuffle it back into his own deck with the effect of Nightmare Unicorn.
And Francesco, however, seems quite relaxed. Maybe it's because he knows that he's still going to the World Championship, or maybe because he knows I can still turn this around. I've been in this situation before, and even if I lose the first game, I can still turn it around then.
Yeah, as you say, this is only game one. At this point, in my mind, Luke is absolutely the favorite for this game, but that isn't the end of the match.
Absolutely not. And there's so many things to talk about in just a few seconds once we know what these guys are going to be siding into.
Here we see the Soul Charge coming down for Luke.
Yeah, just adding insult to injury at this point.
He'll be able to pull out 2 monsters from his grave here at the cost of 2,000 life points.
It's a small price to pay.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the effect of Soul Charge, and even if you pull back 5 monsters, 5,000 life points is really nothing to pay for a full board of monsters. If you look way back in the day, people would pay 5,000 for a single activation of Cyberstein.
Yeah.
And that only gets you one thing. Here, one spell card in your hand, doesn't even require your normal summon, bam, a full board.
Well, at the end of the day, if you have 1 life point when your opponent has 0 life points, you're winning.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter if it's just 1. So here we go. Luke Parks, assemble a gigantic board. We can look at that board a little bit closer here. Firewall Dragon, Tri-Gate Wizard, Gouki Twist Cobra, Gouki Headbat, Nightmare Mermaid, and Nightmare Corruptor Ibli.
Here we see, yeah, the Ibli that was shuffled into his deck with his own Unicorn effect has now been summoned out again as he links away for the Nightmare Mermaid in his upper left monster zone. By the end of this combo, I suspect all of the monster zones in Luke's row and the center too will belong to that same blue Link monster board.
So I think now part of the reason why the UK players are doing so well is because the way that they're trying to build this Gouki board is they're trying to mirror the Union check. that could be a possible explanation. Okay. Well, Francesco Simoncelli is forced to watch his opponent, and chances are he might just draw for the turn and then say, okay, that was fun. Let's go to the second duel.
It's not quite the machine gun extra link that we saw in the earlier rounds from Christopher Nielsen, but Luke's still continuing to make plays here. I think Francesco just gesturing that he'd quite like Luke to hurry up a bit here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even in the finals we are under time constraints. In case you're wondering, Francesco is not playing any of the typical side deck cards in his main deck. There's no surprises like a Winged Dragon of Wrath Fear Mode in the main deck, for example. It sits in the side deck where it belongs, is what many people would say. There's also 3 copies of Evenly Matched in the side deck, interestingly enough. Also not... But we haven't seen that very often this weekend. We keep repeating it. We've only seen it once, and it was dragged down into the grave.
Yeah, it does seem, though, that Francesco's deck might be quite well tailored to taking on this Gouki matchup.
Yeah. I think Francesco here is actually waiting for Luke to go through all of these motions and combos just because he wants to get a really, really good peek at his opponent's deck. So, if possible, he knows the entire deck inside out after the end of that first game, which isn't advantage of
Yes.
sorts. Most people wouldn't be willing to pay the price of losing one duel to know the opponent's deck, but Francesco is taking what he can get here.
Perhaps he has no option.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll just see Luke continuing to try and further resolve this board. He has the triple E co-linked Tri-Gate Wizard, a key component.
Yeah, there's some applause. It's somewhat faint. People don't really know if they should love it or hate it, I think.
And Luke just special summons that last monster into the zone adjacent to the Firewall Dragon, forcing, if Francesco is main decking any kaijus, he won't be able to tribute either of the mermaids in the extra monster zone because there's no free main monster zone. That was a play that he'd been discussing with Tom Payne, one of his teammates, about how if you finish with a full 7 monsters on board, even the kaijus, which are becoming a bit more popular, can't break that extra link board.
Alright, so Trickstar Reincarnation is the top deck for the turn for Francesco Simoncelli. And I'm somewhat surprised he's playing even, but he's trying it with Sky Striker Mobilize Engage.
At this point, Luke won't be wanting to negate anything that doesn't directly threaten the board he has set up already. The Widow Anchor comes out of the deck, but with everything co-linked and a Nightmare Goblin on the field, it won't be able to be activated here for any target other than the Headbat. We'll see 10 cards banished from the top as the cost for the Pot of Desires, but I expect again Luke will hold firm. He appears to be thinking. Perhaps he wants to negate that Pot of Desires.
He definitely looks like he's thinking. What could be going through his head? I mean, he does know for a fact that his opponent doesn't have any hand traps.
Yeah, so for Luke, it's simply a matter of he needs to hold his nerve and not negate anything until there's a real threat.
And a pot is not a real threat. Unless your opponent is out of cards completely and he's playing his only card, which is the pot.
So we'll see 2 additional cards. Normal summon of Candina. Luke here doesn't have on his field the... oh no, he has negated that Pot of Desires with his Tri-Gate Wizard if it's been banished. No cards were drawn. And without a Nightmare Phoenix, Luke doesn't have any protection from destruction by battle.
Yeah, Francesco is still left with 4 cards, so that certainly...
Admittedly, all of Francesco's monsters at this point, save for any hypothetical co-linked ones, will be losing 2,000 attack apiece due to the effects of 2 Nightmare Mermaids.
And we see the light stage, searching for the Lilybell. All of that is your regularly scheduled program for the Trickstar Sky Striker deck.
The effect of the light stage, they're locking down that 1 set on Luke's side of the field. What is the set card for Luke here?
Called by the Grave.
Okay, so in the end phase, that cannot be used. There are no monsters in grave for Francesco.
Yep, here it's been taken out. And suddenly Francesco also committed all of his cards to the field, except for that Trickstar Candina waiting in his hand.
So Francesco's monsters all have no stats. It's just a case of whether or not Luke's will be psyched out by the sight of staring down 4 back rows. We know that there is a Reincarnation, a Torrential Tribute, a Scapegoat, and a Widow Anchor amongst those sets. So really quite a lot of tools to try and stay in the game. That is, I assume, the effect of Tri-Gate Wizard. Does it? I think it has a 2-link effect to banish a card on the field.
You can target 1 card on the field, banish it, yes.
So he first
being chained
takes out 1 card.
It is Scapegoat.
Luke won't care about that one. It doesn't threaten to destroy his board. He'll just let it resolve. At this point, he only is worried about anything that could take down the fort that he's assembled with that full 7-monster extra link board.
And the Torrential Tribute that in theory... Oh, actually Francesco couldn't activate it now anyway, because he would be missing the timing. Wouldn't be doing anything because of those nightmare effects that protect the monsters from destruction.
Yeah, Luke just needs to hold his nerve here and hold fire on that Tri-Gate Wizard for only in response to if that Torrential Tribute gets flipped up. Although, of course, with the co-linked Nightmare
Yeah,
Cerberus
that's-
as well, the board isn't even susceptible.
That's what I mean, yeah. Right, so Luke Parks still in a very advantageous position. Like you said, he just needs to keep his calm. And Francesco Simoncelli, he's staying in there. Maybe because he wants to see as many cards as possible from his opponent's deck. Or maybe because he thinks that's giving him an advantage in a different way that I can't quite make out.
I think that Francesco might even be putting himself at a disadvantage by playing on here. The hidden tech that is Torrential Tribute, if it gets banished by a Trigate Wizard next turn, will reveal far more information to Parks in that than anything that he could realistically expect to see at this point.
Yeah, and before that could happen, Francesco decides to call it a day. He's shuffling up and accessing his side deck to decide on what's going to happen in the second. I'm just laughing because somebody's revealing a Spain flag and we don't have a Spanish player in the finals. All right, with that, let's take a look at the side decks of these two duelists.
So, Francesco, we can only assume will be playing first here.
Yeah.
We've seen some interesting play with players choosing to force their opponents to play first, but I would be very surprised if we see that in the final. He has access to Shared Rides in his side deck. Those are very likely to come in. Short of Droll and Lockbird, they will at least allow him to draw cards whilst Luke Parks is amassing his huge number of searches.
Does he have a Droll and Lockbird?
He will
main
have
deck, of
Droll and
course.
Lockbird in the main deck, not in the side.
Yeah.
There is a card here in the side deck that is written in Italian and I don't know the name of.
Tela Rosta Potente di Polvere, if I'm not mistaken. We can try and find that card. And the other cards are...
Evenly matched, very likely to come in if he makes it to a Game 3 playing second, along with the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode. And a Saryuja Skulldread also sat in his side deck. He may want to bring that in playing first.
I think it's Heavy Storm Duster.
Okay, yes. We won't be seeing Heavy Storm Duster in this match. The cards that Luke Parks are going to be setting to his back row, not hugely impactful.
And I have to correct myself, the name is Tempesta Potente di Polvere. Who couldn't have come up with that? So Heavy Storm Duster.
My Italian is a little rusty.
Yeah. All right.
And the side deck for Luke Parks on the other side of things, Twin Twisters, very likely that those will be coming in, and also the red reboots. So it may have been hugely valuable for Francesco not revealing that Torrential Tribute, because there's a chance that Luke might not side it, not revealing the Torrential, so that Luke possibly will skip over the red reboot in his side deck, which would definitely come in if he knows about those Torrentials.
Right. So Luke Parks in a pretty good position. I think he's won all of the first duels when we featured him in the last three rounds. This round and the last 2 rounds.
I think he was speaking to his friends just after that semi-final match, and he's claimed to have not lost a game in the Top Cut.
Wasn't the first feature match a 2-1? Was it also 2-0?
It was a Gouki mirror match.
Yeah, it was. Was it a 2-0? Oh, I'm confused. Yeah, was it against again? Was it the game against Marcello, or was it in the semi-finals?
Yeah, the Marcello game would have been in the top 8, I believe.
It was, yes. And then we stayed with him because the other match would have been a mirror match, and we wanted to have Sky Strike against Gouki. Okay, actually he is correct in that case. Wow, hasn't lost a game in the top card, even though he's been playing mirror matches all day, all the way until the semi-finals. So now we're having the cards, the opening hands for the second game loading in with Gouki, Suprex and Twin Twisters, Living Fossil for Luke Parks. Chunk Forward is the 4th card, and number 5 will be there in just a second. Oh, there we have the hand of Francesco. Gouki Twist Cobra is the 5th card for Luke Parks.
Francesco is opened with a very strong hand here and no interaction from Luke Parks. I think this game, on the opening hands at least, looks like it might be favouring the Italian player here.
It's definitely a good opening hand, like you said. No interruption is key, but turnabout is fair play. That's exactly what happened in the first game. when Luke Parks was able to unleash his combo unopposed.
Yeah, it will be very exciting if we do see that Game 3 being brought about in this final match. So here we see Francesco just umming and ahhing about which zone to place his Hornet drones into. Don't imagine it makes a great deal of difference.
No, it didn't, because it was only there for 1 second.
The Kagari effect gets back that initial engage, and he won't quite be able to make it up to the spell threshold. Oh no, there is potential that he can. If he uses his first terraforming and then a light stage, summon the Candina for a second light stage. Once the second light stage is played over the first, there will then be the full 3 spell cards in the grave to get that bonus resolution on the Sky Striker Mobilize Engage activation for the second time around.
Yeah, and Luke Parks looks like he's just taking this in. He seems to be actually thinking about his own stuff more than what his opponent is doing. He knows that there's not much that he can be doing.
Yeah, we see a really strong opening for Francesco here, and Luke doesn't know quite what he's facing up against yet, but the reality of the situation is soon going to become very apparent to him.
Oh, actually, he's not going for the plan that you were telegraphing with that light stage, because instead he's going with a Trickstar Reincarnation.
So he's valuing the Reincarnation higher here than the potential for an extra draw.
Well, I mean, I guess there are reasons for that. He can also fool his opponent into believing that he set up the combo, and then he's setting the Torrential Tribute.
Yeah, and of course he would need to sacrifice the Shizuku search by linking away his Candina to clear the main monster zones.
For the engage. So there are various things at play here.
So instead he would rather have the search from the Shizuku and leave that Licorice on the field than to have access to a random draw.
So he places Torrential Tribute, Shared Ride, and Trickstar Reincarnation, of course. And
one final search to round off the turn.
It's an interesting opening. It's not especially what we expected at first. But yes, that Candina on the field really wrecked that plan with the engage and all of those extra draws with the engage. So it's up to Luke Parks. Takes 400 damage plus 200 damage. It's just 200 plus 200, right?
Yeah, 400 damage in 2 little bites, 1 from each card. You see Luke Parks playing with a very strong hand there, but we know he needs to get through a lot of back row. It'll be interesting to see whether he goes for the Twin Twisters to start, or will he wait and potentially risk walking into that Torrential Tribute.
Seems like he's going for the latter. Although so far the Torrential Tribute wouldn't really harm him.
No, at the early stages he can afford to be a bit more aggressive with his plays. Both players would be losing almost the same amount of cards here. But as we get slightly deeper into the combo, the threat of that Torrential Tribute grows only larger.
Yes. And so I guess after every single summon, there's going to be a chance that Francesco Simoncelli is thinking, give me a second, I need to think about this. And so one monster after another will slowly stick to the field. That's the third monster hitting play for Luke Parks. And
Francesco actually having to think here, how far does he want to let these plays go?
Yeah, I mean, he should know. He's been playing this all day long, all weekend long, in fact. I would be surprised if he's pulling the trigger at not the most opportune moment.
Okay, so we might see Luke again here opt to use 2 Goukis to special summon his Assault. He has access to an additional extra monster zone. He wants to play around Reincarnation Droll.
Which is fair enough.
It'll be interesting to see which 2 monsters he chooses to change for his Assault and where he puts that Assault. In playing around that potential for Droll and Lockbird, he may play deeper into the Shared Ride, though.
I think so. There's a very good chance that Francesco gets to draw a couple of cards with the Shared Ride. Although he doesn't have any more interaction than... Oh, now it's the Twin Twister. This could be huge.
Is that the Shared Ride? Is it the Torrential Tribute? He wants to hit the Torrential and he wants to miss the Shared Ride.
It's the Shared Ride.
Oh!
And the other card is the Trickstar Reincarnation. So Torrential
But he's
Tribute.
missed the Torrential Tribute.
Torrential Tribute is still on the field.
And Luke now knows that he's playing under the shared ride.
So this is good and bad news for Luke Parks at the same time. He feels like he's just played around something. Feels a bit more secure than before, I guess, unless he thinks there's a possible second reincarnation. But does he see the Torrential Tribute coming here?
I don't think there's any way that he can. But how many searches is he going to try and take? How many cards does he want to give away?
Yeah, these are a
It
couple
looks like he's activated all 3 effects there.
It's also like this was the perfect way that things have played out for Francesco Simoncelli. This couldn't have gone any better for him. And so lucky that he set 3 cards, and 2 out of those that were targeted were the ones that he could chain to the effect.
Yeah, it's really not looking great for Luke here. I'm worried that he's taken all 3 searches with a plan to just march through and try and finish the game this turn, but he'll be giving away so much card advantage, and an untimely Torrential Tribute will see him absolutely wiped out.
Yeah, it's similar to the Max C challenge that we had at past events, where one player knows that it's either now or never. Luke Parks decided it is now, and Torrential Tribute is going to say, nope, it's never. So, and also there's the opportunity for Francesco Simoncelli, of course, to draw some more hand traps, potentially, which would then make life even harder for Luke Parks, no matter what he's going to go for here.
If you're Francesco at this point, how long do you think you hold on to that Torrential Tribute?
Yeah, I think it's until the very first monster that would really put a lot... speaking of hand traps, Strolled Lockbird ×2 for Francesco. Yeah, I think before the first monster that is like really threatening him is hitting play. Like obviously before we see like a Crosslink and Cerberus protecting all the monsters. Like I would say at the last moment that Luke Parks is expecting it, which happens to be the best moment for Francesco.
Okay, we just saw the Droll Lockbird, one of the ones that was drawn by Francesco, being activated there, so neither player will be drawing any more cards here.
Yeah, there we go.
Parks activating the effect of his Isolde, sending that Phoenix Blade to the graveyard to pull out Octostretch from the deck.
So any moment now, we might see Torrential Tribute. A card that, if I'm not mistaken, was released in Pharaoh or Servant.
Labyrinth of Nightmare.
Even earlier.
LON.
LON. It's the 5th set that has been released. So many, many years have passed since this card has first been printed.
And many prints it's had on its way through.
Yeah. And it's still good. It's still good. And if you doubt that, just wait a little longer and you're going to see it for yourself. You can't help but wonder, what is Luke Parks expecting to be face down here? Does he maybe think there might be a scapegoat? Is he maybe thinking there's another Sky Striker card?
Well, this is what we were saying about the value for Francesco of being able to conceal that information about the trap cards in his deck. Luke won't know what he's playing into here, and that might really change the tide of the match. I'm sure if he had the information about what he's about to activate his Gouki rematch into, he would be going nowhere near it.
Yeah.
But as he puts these
There's the Gouki
4th
rematch.
and 5th monsters onto the field...
You can hear... I could hear some gasps in the crowd because people were like expecting
And
that.
here's the Torrential
Tribute. And this is big. Luke Parks, you can tell on his face he's not happy. Whereas Francesco's face is saying, gotcha. I gotcha. Luke Parks can't help but smile. He's like, this is not what I was expecting. Shuffling up the cards, and that means it's 1-1 between Francesco Simoncelli.
He's not shuffling up.
Oh, he's still going?
He still has plays. He can still activate the Living Fossil in his hand to put an extra monster onto the field, and then special summon the Headbat from hand, discarding Rescorpio. Luke is not out of plays. He is in a really bad position.
He's out of focus. He's definitely out of focus, but apparently not out of place. And Francesco Simoncelli, just look at him. Rub that hands. He's happy about how this turned out. But I actually thought Luke Parks is just going to be like, okay, let's go to game 3 here.
No, Luke has plays here. I'm not sure that they're going to be good enough, but he does have options. He's not giving up.
He's not giving up. He's a fighter. Both of these guys won't give up. We've seen it in the first game with Francesco. Now we see it in the second game with Luke Parks.
I think we just see the summon there, an attack for 2,100. Perhaps he's hoping that he can just have a bigger monster than Francesco is able to field.
Yeah, but we see Luke Parks with no interruption whatsoever. And Francesco Simoncelli with 5 cards in hand. He's got another Droll Lockbird. He's got searches. He's got plenty of searches, in fact, with 2 copies of those engages. I would be hard-pressed to say that Luke Parks can turn this around. He is a master of the game. I'm not taking anything away from him. But I'm not sure if he can turn this one around.
Very few cards for Luke would be able to affect the game. Chat just pointing out that even the Suprex is not at 2,100, it's only at 1,100 after losing 1,000 to the reduction from Living Fossil.
Yeah. So that's a good little note there, guys. Thank you very much. And we're glad that you're just as involved as we are. All right. So where's Francesco Simoncelli going to go here?
Well, he has 6 cards in hand. He has so many options. He'll be drawing cards with the effects of his Skytrack and Mobilize. He's really got the world at his feet at this point. I don't see any way that Luke is going to be fighting back into this game. But Luke at this point does have incentive to stay on in this match. He knows that there's crazy techs like Torrential Tribute in the mix.
That is
he
true.
might want to see, just in case there's anything else that he can find out before he goes into Game 3.
If Francesco Simoncelli wins the finals with two moves like that we just saw with Torrential Tribute, he's going to be absolutely invincible going into the World Championship. And Luke Parks is not going to like his odds when he's going up against Francesco at Worlds, because he's going to be like, that's the guy that caught me off guard twice and played cards that nobody saw coming in the finals of the European Championship.
So yeah, Luke just trying to make sure that he doesn't get fooled again in this same match.
And just in case you're wondering, guys, no, this is not the graveyard by Francesco Simoncelli. All of those cards are actually in his hand right now. So many cards.
Yeah, Luke must be staring down that giant hand of cards for Francesco, thinking that there's nothing that will save him here.
Yeah, here's a bit of a guess. He must be playing Cowboy, otherwise he would have given up. But no, he is not. Luke Parks is not playing Cowboy. Luke Parks is still shaking his head. I think he's still reeling, or at least somewhat affected by the Torrential Tribute earlier.
He may, of course, be taking some time here, choosing not to concede to give himself some emotional recovery time from that Torrential Tribute before he has to get ready for his Game 3.
Yeah, might be a smart option. And that Cowboy comment actually had a real reason for that. It was not just a joke, because if Luke Parks were to be the lucky player to be ending the game with time running out slowly but steadily, and the game would end in his main phase, then a Cowboy could be enough to win the game, of course.
But we can see here on his deck list in front of us that the only Xyz monster on his list is that 1 copy of MX Saber Invoker. No Gagaga Cowboy in the extra or side deck for Parks.
Yes. So no, we're not going to see that. But we don't know what we're going to see. We're definitely going to see a third duel, because now Luke Parks is calling it a day. He's like, yes, that is it for the time being. We need to... Okay, we even have mottos now in the audience here. And it would be interesting to hear what the audience is actually rooting for, because I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It seems like we got a 50-50 between Gouki and Skystrike and Trickstar, or between Italy and, of course, the UK. But this was the calm before the storm, because this one is for all the marbles, or for the one marble that gigantic marble that we used as a trophy for this year's European Championship.
Yeah, we see this entire tournament coming down to one final game with just 8 minutes left to play. Luke Parks almost certainly will be playing first here, building his Gouki board into the 3 copies of Evenly Matched and 3 copies of Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode sat on the other side of the table.
Does Luke Parks have anything to stop these cards from resolving? We don't see something like a drag down into the grave.
No, but we do have a Neospatian Aquadolphin, a card that we've talked about several times this weekend. Even if it's not actually able to strip the Evenly Matched or the Winged Dragon of Ra from the hand, it gives you the knowledge that those cards are waiting, and you can adjust your plays, make sure that you build a safe board with resilience to those options.
All right. Almost 8 minutes remaining. The last duel of the World Championship qualifier, European Championship 2018 in Berlin. Whew.
Yeah, with only 7 minutes left on the clock as we go into the start of this game, Aquadolphin could prove really key here. if Luke isn't able to hit a card with the effect when he activates it, he himself will take some burn damage, and that could forfeit the match essentially on his very first turn to taking 500 damage of his own card effect. There's a huge risk to be had.
Yeah, maybe he's going to be siding them out. I'm a bit confused, to be honest, because I thought that he had already sided and shuffled, but apparently he shuffled first, now he's siding, and then he's shuffling again, I guess.
Well, he may have wanted to make some further last-minute changes.
Yeah, he changed his mind about some cards. There is... What?
3 spells by the look of things coming out. He's taking out the
Merge?
instant fusion. He doesn't want to have to pay 1,000 life points. He's also sided out the soul charge. He wants to remove any of those cards that could be in his opening hand and drop him life points before he gets to have his first battle phase.
So Luke Park's very aware of the clock. He knows exactly what this whole thing could come down to. And here are some guesses that Luke might be going second in the chat. What do you think? Who's going to go first? Or who's Luke going to allow to go first?
It's really difficult to say. It's likely that Francesco will have sided into Evenly Matched and the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode, so it's possible that if Luke really is keeping track of how long is left on the clock, he will force Francesco to play second and force Francesco to play first. And if that is the case, Francesco appears to be taking a very long time about shuffling here, perhaps deliberately running down the clock, and that could work against him. Francesco could be digging his own grave here if Luke chooses to opt to play second himself.
But if Francesco has something like a Licorice to deal some damage, and Luke cannot find a way to deal damage on Francesco's first turn...
Well, Francesco, if playing first here, a Licorice wouldn't be enough, because whilst the first turn Gouki boards take a long time to put together, it's unlikely that any hand of Trickstar Sky Striker could take more than 5 minutes to pass over the turn.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be exciting.
Who will we see playing first here? This could be really, really pivotal to the outcome of the tournament.
What's going to be the opening hands? Terraforming Trickstar Licorice. First 2 cards coming in. Neospatian Aquadolphin, he left them in for Luke Parks. Gouki Rematch, Gouki Suprex, Gouki Twist Cobra, and Gouki Octo Stretch. That's a lot of Gouki cards.
So Luke has chosen to play first.
And he goes
Are there
first.
any low attack monsters in hand for Francesco?
There's this Licorice, which is not low attack. There's a Phantom Sky Blaster.
What is the attack value of the Sky Blaster?
1,100.
Okay, so if we see a mid-combo activation of the Aquadolphin, it potentially could get summoned out by a Firewall if we ever reach that stage. Obviously, Infinite Impermanence threatens to shut down the combo before we get to that point. But with Gouki Rematch in hand for Luke Parks, he really has all of the options available to him, and one Infinite Impermanence unlikely to be enough to really stop things here. The Impermanence being played on the first effect of Isolde, that will mean that Luke is able to then activate his rematch, summon some new warriors, make a new Isolde, and still resolve that effect to special summon the Octostretch from the deck. It's looking really promising for Luke Parks here. I think we might...
Yeah, I think Francesco was pulling the trigger a little bit too early here. Maybe he thought this is my only out. If I can stop my opponent dead in his tracks, hoping that he doesn't have all of the cards. Sometimes he draws into a couple of hand traps. But maybe Luke Parks saw this coming, sided out all the hand traps, sided out all the dead cards or dead-ish cards, stuff like Instant Fusion, and now the rematch.
It feels like Francesco has played his Infinite Impermanence at a really inopportune moment there. If he played it on the normal summon of the Suprex, he could have prevented the Assault from first hitting the board, leaving the rematch dead in hand. If he'd waited for the second effect of the Assault, he would have prevented that summon from the deck, but this is the one time when he plays his Infinite Impermanence, and it really doesn't seem to be doing anything. Luke, not even caring that he won't get to resolve the effect to summon from the deck, he just wants to ditch the Phoenix Blade.
Yeah. He should be happy with how that turned out. He might just be thinking, okay, is my opponent holding on to so many good cards that he can still turn this around, even though he pulled the trigger a little bit too early with that Infinite Impermanence? Or am I really winning this right now? Am I really going to be able to just get this thing underway? And it is going to be coming home for the first time ever.
Yeah, with more and more Gouki cards available to Luke in hand, he can just keep going. He'll get to his Firewall, he'll get to a Nightmare Goblin. He can just keep putting more and more monsters onto the board here. That one negation from the Infinite Impermanence isn't going to slow him down.
No, you have to play through one negation. We said this earlier today or even yesterday. If you want to have a foot in the door in the first place of advancing to the top cut in a tournament like this one, your deck needs to be able to play through one negation. If you want to go further than this, like the top 8 or something, you need to be playing through 2 negations. If you want to win the tournament, sometimes that means you need to be able to play through 3 negations.
The critical factor here that Luke might be overlooking is that there isn't long left on the clock.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's fully aware of the clock here. So he is, I'm not saying he's taking his time, but he's not on lightning speed. He's not on Christopher Nielsen speed right now.
No, this is no machine gun Gouki that we've been seeing in the past.
And maybe we should double check with the judges if the clock is correct or if for whatever reason there's extra time.
So we see that there's the Neospatian Aquadolphin in hand here. Did we see an activation of the Nightmare Goblin on the summon? I think we did, so we'll have an additional normal summon for the Aquadolphin here.
Is the Aquadolphin going to backfire?
No, the attack of his Gouki Suprex, greater than the attack of the monsters in hand for Francesco. 500 burn damage will be administered, and I think that might be effectively the last play of the game. Luke can just continue to combo off at the start of this first turn after dealing some damage. Only 1 minute left on the clock. Luke just needs to continue making plays here. If he builds his board for the next just 1 minute without getting administered any slow play penalties, which is the only real way that he can be losing this game at this point, so he should be absolutely doing everything in his power not to take that option.
This is absolutely crazy because
this is going to be
we've had this
game
discussion
over
the entire weekend. Is Neospatian Aquadolphin a good card or not? In this particular situation, Neospatian Aquadolphin might have just won the finals of the European Championship for Luke Parks, and you can see it in his face.
Can we pull up the text on the Aquadolphin there?
Yes. Once per turn, you can discard 1 card, look at your opponent's hand, and choose 1 monster. If you control a monster with attack greater than or equal to the attack of the chosen card, which was the case, destroy the chosen card, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent.
We see now that 500 damage has finally been updated on the live readout here. Luke ahead on life points with 10 seconds left until the end of the match.
And we actually get a live countdown from the crowd who is counting down what's going to happen in the finals. They are under the impression that Luke Parks has won this. Luke Parks is shaking. He's shaking and extending the hand. He's offering his opponent the handshake.
Francesco just checking the life points.
He's like, do you have anything or not? He does not, and that means Luke Parks is your 2018 European champion. For the first time ever, we have a British champion in the European Championship. He's heading over to our analyst desk. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun. This was one of the greatest finals we've ever seen.
It was so much fun, sat behind the casting desk this weekend, and what a climax to the whole event.
It was an honor casting matches for you, Tom. Thank you so much. Great job this weekend.
Thank you to you too.
We hope you had fun. Let's take you guys to the analyst's desk where Luke and Matt are going to be talking with your new European champion, Luke Parks from the UK.
Hello and welcome back. Here we are with our European champion, Luke Parks.
Congratulations, the first UK European champion. How do you feel?
Great. I mean, I'm sure it'll sink in at some point, but like, yeah, it was
It's not
awesome,
synced in now, is it? It's not synced in.
like,
this is your trophy.
It was horrible, but I love it. Like, shout out to Dolphin, I guess.
Yeah, did you ever expect Neospatian Aquadolphin in 2018 deciding the European Championship?
No, but I was really worried because I had to side out 3 instant fusion and soul charge, so I was just hoping to God I didn't brick.
Yeah, I must say, towards the end of that game, we were thinking, whoa, he's siding all this stuff out and the hand traps are going in. Is he maybe going to go second?
No, I was never going second. I was just like,
We thought it's crazy.
God damn, draw a Dolphin, please.
Yeah.
And it got you there. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was worried about him having no monsters though. Like,
Yeah,
if he
yeah,
had
well.
no monsters, I was like, well, I guess I lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a heck of a run. That was 2-0 in all of your top cut matches, right?
Was that game 2 or game 3?
That was game. Oh, that was game
that
3
was
because
game
the
three.
Trent
That was the one
the first
game I
time you
lost
took to game 3.
thingy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Would you like to lift your trophy?
Yes.
Okay.
Please don't break it.
I'll try my best.
Here you go. Lift it up in the air. The crowd are going insane here, guys. That's going to be it from us.
Yeah, that is the last time you're going to hear from us this season. We'll be back in
Good job,
Tokyo.
Matt.
Thank you, Luke. Have a good time.
Congratulations.
Take care of you. Enjoy Tokyo. It's a great
Yeah,
place.
it's going to be great.
And that's it from us here at the European Championships with the first ever European champion from the UK. We'll be back with more live coverage from the European side on the 200th YCS at Utrecht, but please do not miss the World Championships in Japan. See you guys soon.
Take care, guys. Have fun.